So what if the biggest risk in your life has absolutely nothing to do with the stock market? Today we're digging into a really fascinating philosophy that starts with just a single trading tactic, but it blossoms into this whole new way of looking at the world. Let's get right into it.
All right, we're kicking things off with a feeling I bet you know even if you're not a trader. It's that incredible high, that rush you get from a winning streak. It's powerful, right? You feel like you're on top of the world. But, as we're about to see, that feeling is also unbelievably dangerous.
And our source material actually gives this feeling a name, the Midas touch syndrome. You know, it's that moment you start to truly believe that every single thing you touch is just destined to turn to gold.
Yeah, this overconfidence is a serious psychological trap. You can see the definition right here. It makes you feel like you've finally cracked the code, right? And that is the exact moment you're tempted to take on way more risk, right when your judgment is the most clouded by all that success.
He tells this really personal story about a time he was just on a roll, winning one trade after another. He felt totally invincible, so he thought, okay, time to up the ante, time to go big. And guess what happened? Bam! He immediately lost. And he said it was terrifying, not because of the money, but because in that one single moment, that whole feeling of invincibility just shattered.
So, how do you protect yourself from your own success? Well, the answer, according to our source, is this brilliant and completely counterintuitive strategy for survival. Okay, what is so fascinating about this is how it goes against every single one of your natural instincts. Right at that moment when you feel like a genius and you want to bet bigger, this method forces you to slam on the brakes and go all the way back to basics. You're basically preparing yourself for the loss that you know is coming, and you're making sure it's just a tiny one. This is such a great way to put it. You know how stock exchanges have those automatic circuit breakers that literally halt trading when things get too wild? Well, the argument here is that you need to build your own internal circuit breakers to stop yourself from making reckless moves when you're, as he says, drunk on new equity highs.
All right, now let's zoom out for a second and see how this one little tactic is actually part of a much bigger philosophy. We're talking about a philosophy that isn't just about making money, but about what it really means to be a trader in the first place.
So our source lays out two very different paths for a trader. On one side, you've got the jackpot chaser, the person who's always swinging for the fences, hoping for that one massive score. And on the other side, you've got what he calls the working class hero, the person who's just trying to make a steady, reliable living, day in and day out.
And here's the crucial point. True long-term profitability, well, it's not found in chasing those huge volatile gains that make your equity curve look like a roller coaster. No, it's found in disciplined, consistent work that just generates a steady, professional income.
And now, we are going to take a huge step back from the trading screen and look at the bigger picture. Because what if I told you that the risk you're so busy managing in the market is actually the smallest risk you face?
The whole conversation just takes this sharp turn when a caller from Florida brings up something that has nothing to do with trading at all, preparing for hurricanes. And just like that, we're talking about a completely different kind of risk, a risk that makes your ability to read a chart totally and utterly useless.
I mean, think about it. In a real emergency, the power grid is down, supply chains are broken, you can't get basic necessities. Your skill at reading a price chart means absolutely nothing. Your entire focus shifts to survival.
And this brings us to the final and honestly the most profound part of this worldview, the idea that you should apply the same disciplined risk management you use in trading to your own life. In other words, being prepared is the ultimate trade.
From this perspective, the real risks that we all face are systemic. The speaker we're analyzing here expresses this deep distrust in institutions, in official data. He believes that the chaos we're seeing in the world isn't random, that it's being created intentionally, with a goal of controlling people through things like digital currencies. Now, whether you agree with that or not, from this point of view, being prepared for the worst isn't paranoia. It's the only logical response.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the practical side of it. Just like you hedge a trade, you hedge your life. Having food, water, independent communication, and some physical cash. It isn't about doomsday prepping. In this worldview, it's about having practical insurance for peace of mind in a pretty unstable world.
This worldview also has a very specific take on politics. It basically dismisses the two-party system as a kind of theater, where both sides are ultimately serving the same hidden interests. The idea here is that the real threat isn't the other political party, but the system itself, a system designed to keep us all divided and distracted.
So,
What do we take away from all this? We started with a simple rule for not blowing up a trading account, and wow, we ended up with a complete philosophy for how to navigate the modern world.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. What if the most important thing you can do to manage risk in your life has nothing to do with the market and everything to do with how you see the world? It's a provocative thought for sure, and it suggests that maybe, just maybe, true risk management is about understanding the stability or instability of the entire system you're a part of.